how to accept yourself the way you are. So first off, the fact that you're even here, I acknowledge you for wanting to accept yourself. Sometimes we're in a state of unconsciousness where we don't even know, we don't know who we are, we don't care, we're in such automatic pilot that we're not even breathing in that way. And so the fact that you're even wanting to accept yourself more is an act of love. And this is, by you watching this video, is an act of self-love. So you're already doing it. So congratulations, it's a beautiful thing, and I acknowledge you for taking that step. What I'd love to start out with first is to tell you that really the truth, right? The truth of the fact that there's no, and you might have already heard this, but it's the truth. There's nobody in this earth like you. Nobody that can even come close. You're a miracle. You are one of a kind, unique. The chances of your parents coming together, there's this beautiful informational chart that I read once of showing the actual chances of two people coming together and interacting to make you, and the chances are zero. They're close to zero, because there's a purpose for you. You're supposed to be here. You've got a huge mission on this earth to serve humanity. And perhaps for right now, you're not sure why, and maybe you're feeling disconnected. And so, and that's okay. That's totally okay. This is where you are, and there's nothing wrong with that. And you're exactly where you need to be. And everything has actually been preparing you for this exact moment right now. So, and so you can look upon your past not as, maybe switching the lens from shame or hurt into okay, so all of that was supposed to happen. And so I can bring some appreciation and to seeing the gifts as to why, or as to, what all of that was. But everything up until now has been a perfect ingredient for the recipe of you. And it's all on purpose. It's all on purpose, chosen by you, a part of your path, a part of your destiny. There's not one thing that you've done that isn't a part of it. And there isn't one thing that you've done that is against the universe. The universe loves you. The universe is who you are. And so, which is why, if you are the universe is never wrong. It doesn't matter how many people you've hurt. It doesn't matter whether you went to jail. It doesn't matter what you've done. Zero. What you've thought, what you've done, how horrendous, how disgusting you may think it is. It is all exactly the way it's supposed to be. And crazy enough, it all has a purpose. So the first thing is to really kind of get and feel into that. Feel into the fact that there is nobody like you, that life is happening for you, that it is all perfection and all divine, not one mistake. And at some point the dots will connect, I promise. You will see the dots. You will see why it all happened, why all of it is here. Now, one thing that I'd invite you to do is what parts of you don't you accept? What don't you like about yourself? And who is saying that? Who is saying that inside of you? Is there a judgmental part of you? Is there a critical part of you? And how often does that part of you show up? And how is that part of you limiting you? And how is that part of you, serving you? So if you look back into your childhood, you may likely see some sort of critic or judge. Maybe it was a parent, maybe it was a teacher. There was somebody that you learned that from, and it served you. It probably keeps you in line. Sometimes it actually keeps you driven. It keeps you, from, not making mistakes. It keeps you from not failing. It absolutely serves you. And there is another way to do it. Right? We don't have to keep ourselves in line with judgment and criticism. We can keep ourselves in line with motivation and love and acceptance. So where I would start is not necessarily in first accepting, but it's really the relationship we have with ourselves. It's really with who is saying, who is not accepting of you, right? The judgment, the critic inside of you. That's where I would explore first. So I would explore that, invite you to explore that with journaling. There's a powerful practice called the morning pages where you can practice 3 pages of writing and what I believe about myself, what I believe about accepting myself, what I don't like about myself, right? What I believe about, what I know about this judge, what do I know about this critic, and really getting to know this part of you and finding out what they need. what does this judgment, this critical part of you need? Why is it here? So most of the time, the critic is here because it needs certainty, safety, love, connection. Maybe it was how you keep yourself safe or keep yourself connected or loved. And so how can you provide that to yourself in another balanced way, right? Making sure that you've got all of that very, very much rich in your life so that that critic no longer has to do this. Maybe there's a part of you that doesn't trust yourself. Like maybe you've made some mistakes in the past and now this critic is here to keep you in line. So reminding the critic within you that you've got this. I'm an adult now and I can trust myself. And I know that I'm not going to, the part when I made those mistakes, that was such, it was so long ago. And I'm no longer that person anymore. And even if the mistake happened yesterday, that's okay. There's technically no mistakes in the universe, right? And you're also not that person you were yesterday. So just reminding yourself that you've got this and that the critic doesn't have to work so hard to keep you in line in this way. Maybe developing some other sort of mechanism then, right? So developing a mechanism of positivity instead, some sort of coach or a motivator or some sort of in essence what we're doing is we're learning how to reparent ourselves. And this is really going to be the beginning of you accepting yourself. So it's reparenting ourselves, like giving ourselves the love that we seek out in the world, giving ourselves the connection we seek in the world. Because when you're wanting to accept yourself, really what you're wanting is love. You're really wanting love. There are parts of you in your mind or being that you don't love. And so how can you provide that love to yourself rather than needing that love in the world? You've also judged yourself. You're judging those parts of you. You don't like it, but they all have a right to exist. And so getting to know those parts of yourself, seeing them, what I like to do actually is I like to see them as little kids. So I love to identify them. So they're what are called subpersonalities. So if you can see them as these separate little entities, characters, or people or parts of you. Sometimes they if you were to actually meditate and dig into these parts of you, you will see that they have their way of, they dress, their worldview, the way that they act in life, the way that they behave, the way that they speak. Sometimes they have dialects, they have body postures. It's really fascinating, but they are you. And if you can create a relationship with these parts that you don't like and that you judge, you will begin to love them. And if you can see them as little children even, these parts of you that are unconditional love that they got formed as little kids, as a child, and they're still young, you'll see them differently. Inner child work is really powerful here. And in inner child work, in essence, what you're doing is you're going into deep meditation and you are meeting these parts of you and you're actually seeing them as the little kids that they are, and you will learn to love them so differently rather than judging them, rather than hating them and detesting them. You will begin to love them, and it becomes a really powerful journey of you really deeply loving yourself. But that's in essence what this is about. Acceptance is really love, and so it's understanding that each part of you had a purpose, and maybe that purpose is long gone, but you get to change that and you get to shift it, but you do it in love and compassion because it's still you. And all this part of you wants is love. Really, all it wants is love. And if you can go back to see when it was formed, then you will also see that, you'll see it differently. There was somebody that I knew that had this addiction, and he hated the addiction. He really was something that he detested about himself. And he started this addiction when he was 11 years old. And so one of the things that we did was we went in and I had him see his 11-year-old self, because he was seeing himself as this adult with this addiction and he couldn't stand it and it was disgusting, and he started to split himself. He felt like he had two personalities, and and he was doing this all in secret, and it was creating a whole break in his marriage. So what we did was we did an exercise where he got to see this little boy, this 11-year-old boy, and instead of hating it, he started to love him. And that's all this boy wanted. That's actually why this addiction started, was because the boy wanted love and compassion and connection that he never got from his parents. And so now he got an opportunity to reparent himself and provide himself, the little 11-year-old boy inside of him that was addicted, he got to provide him with love, connection, compassion. And so now he's on his way through breaking through this addiction, because that's all, he's replacing the addiction with what the intention, what the whole point of it all was. So finding ways to love these fragmented parts of you, that's in essence how you're going to accept all of you. So if you have any questions about this whatsoever, if you need any advice whatsoever, you know where to find me, comment below. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you want to hear more videos like this, go ahead and hit that subscriber button and hit that bell, because that is how you're going to get notified every time I release a new video. And that's what I got for you. So I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will see you soon.